Hey everyone, Anime here, and we have finally been given the much anticipated chapter 297 of My Hero Academia. A lot went on in this chapter, so pull up a chair and let's discuss. Roll that intro. Okay, how embarrassing, still no intro, but let's get into it. So this chapter starts off with a nice shot of Tartarus and gives us some information about it. If you're a One Piece fan, then it should remind you a little bit of Impel Down. It's a prison that is located in the middle of a body of water, and it contains 6 levels. The stronger or more dangerous the villain, the lower they are in the prison, which of course means that our big baddie All For One is hanging out right in the basement. It also has that reputation of once you enter, there is no chance of you leaving. And much like Impel Down, we're introduced to it, and of course a bunch of people end up escaping in a mass breakout. So on the outside of the prison, Shigaraki is beginning his assault. Like many people surmised, he is coming with the high-end Nomu to break the defenses of Tartarus. We're immediately introduced to a guard named Gygus who has announced a code red and announced that his brother Briareus, another guard, is dead. Now I give props to Horikoshi because Gygus and Briareus, and excuse those pronunciations, are from Greek mythology. And what were their responsibilities? They were in charge of guarding Tartarus. They also helped Zeus defend against the onslaught of the Titans, which is analogous here because Shigaraki is the Titan in this story, except he ends up winning. But let's push forward. Tartarus seems to use a lot of weaponized drones as their main means of defense, but Shigaraki and the Nomu gang keep on pushing through, causing destruction, all while he's having an in-head conversation with All For One. Shigaraki obviously wants his body back, but All For One is kind of mocking him in a sense, reminding him that he's the one that sought out power in order to get back at the world that shunned him. So he should be pretty much happy that the situation that he's in. Shigaraki exclaims that he doesn't want to be a pawn, and All For One assures him that he isn't a pawn, but the most important one of them all. Now, All For One cannot be trusted point blank. Shigaraki might believe his words a little bit, but All For One is the major villain in the story and hasn't given us any evidence that he's capable of any compassion or that he truly cares for anyone other than himself. So the surveillance tower gets taken down and all the electronics in the prison start failing, which means the prison doors go offline. And this is where we get reintroduced to some of the villains of the past. First, we get to see a pumped up Muscular who shows that he's impenetrable to bullets. We get to see Moonfish without his BDSM getup, and well, being the psycho that he is, his quirk is activated and he kills both guards and inmates alike. And then we get introduced to a villainess. Now, it's not a true introduction as we don't get her name, and she does try to use her quirk, but says it isn't affected because, quote unquote, the system isn't responding to it. So I'm assuming she has some kind of hacker type quirk, but that's yet to be told to us. Now, she's important because there are a number of inmates that we see escaping, but out of all the randoms, she actually gets to speak a bit. She mentions a quirk, and she helps out another baddie in the prison, Shizaki, or Overhaul. Now, she opens up his cell to allow him to escape, and he just dashes out. Still armless, so how much of a threat he will be isn't known yet, but he was still held down in the prison, so I'm sure he can still use his quirk in some way. And it's interesting to note that the one thing he says as he runs out is father. Now, this is the difference we see in him compared to the other villains. He actually does have a heart. Now, don't get me wrong, he is a bad person overall, but he still does have feelings and love. I don't really see that or see those traits in any of the other villains. So the chapter culminates to the inmates all seeing Shigaraki and All For One, who is out of his cell, and he tells them to join him, and he proclaims the start of a new era and the birth of a demon lord. The greatest demon lord, in fact. Now, a few points I take out of this is, one, this wasn't a prison break arc, so to speak. Like I mentioned with One Piece and in my video where I made some predictions, this was condensed to a crisp chapter. One Piece stretched out their breakout into a nice little arc, but this isn't what we didn't need that here. We didn't see that. Mainly because the guy doing the breaking out has such immense power, and when you look at it, Tartarus is greatly underfortified. This is a world where people have quirks that burn down things, decay, cause explosions, and their defenses are some robots and guys with guns. Anyone should have been able to see a breakout coming for a while now. So point 2, All For One being the greatest demon lord. Now, let me touch on the phrasing real quick. I don't know if it's a translation issue or not, and if it's not, which it probably isn't, Hirokoshi could have done better with that title. I mean, this is a world of heroes and not so much, demons or supernatural nature. I know what he's getting at with that name. It's intimidating, it's strong, but demon lords are usually reserved for villains in anime and manga that actually contain demons in them. And it's a small thing, but I don't know, it kind of irked me a little bit. The main thing here is that he's going to recreate his army again. And we don't even know how the heroes are going to deal with this, considering how injured and demoralized they are right now. Point 3, they did show Kurogiri being held up in the prison, but they didn't show how he was actually broken out or if he was broken out. And the same goes with Stain. There was a small panel with him. They I guess weren't the focus of this chapter to begin with, but you can be assured that Kurogiri is going to make an appearance later on, so that's probably a moot point. But that's what I have for this chapter. It was pretty exciting, especially the introduction of that female villain. I'm sure she's going to have a lot of people that get behind her, and there's going to be a lot of speculation on what she can do, and I just think my hero needs a strong female villain. We don't know if she's going to be a strong one, but at least having a female villain is a start. So let me know in the comments what your ideas are for who she is, where she's coming from, and what this new era of villainy is going to be. Bye!